Welcome to Tarot Q&A. Special guest, Brenda from Orosoma. Today we are talking about the fundamentals we need to consider when we're job hunting. We're in between jobs and something hasn't come up as fast as you had expected. This can cause people to be stressed out, freaked out, and not trusting the process, and also ignoring their intuition and trying to control the outcome. Now, whilst we do need to use, obviously, logic as well as intuition when it comes to finding a practical job, sometimes we're messing with our own flow. And today, Brenda and I are going to unpack the things we can consider to allow the flow of finding your next job more easily. Yet this process can be used for all sorts of things, perhaps even finding the next love of your life, finding a new home, or anything that you are expecting to happen sooner than it actually is.
Perfect.
And so I'll shuffle away. Would you like to introduce yourself with any extra information?
Oh, okay. So, hi, I'm Brenda, and I have worked with Orosoma. You may have seen the equilibrium bottles before, and the beautiful pomanders and quintessences and room sprays that, of course, Fiona talks about quite a lot. So, yeah, 30 years I've been doing that.
Woohoo! So she knows a thing or two, especially about the therapeutic benefits of using Orosoma to really help our general well-being, healing, and the way we travel through life. Now, why are we talking about this today? We are going into this topic because we received 2 questions from different people regarding their situation. Jessica has recently moved to London, so she's not with us here today because she is asleep at this time. And she's hunting down a job. Now, she expected to get one before she went there. She's over there now and she's freaking out. She wants to know what the tarot has to say about this. Is there a little bit of advice? Then we have Melissa, who runs her own business and has a sideline job as daycare facilitator. And she is in between daycare jobs. Now, she's wanting to know what to do with her current situation. And because this is a common theme, we thought we would come from a more holistic angle about what to do when you are in between jobs and about to freak out. So I'm going to begin with a card. We're just shuffling away to see what that message is. And then we will pass it to Brenda, who may have some color therapy or color conditioners that could help with the point that I'm going to discover. Now, we can all logically think, what should we be considering when we're looking for a new job? However, we're coming from a different angle today. We're going to, well, that is a new job. I've just pulled, funnily enough, the Ace of Pentacles. Now, if this comes up in a spread, it is the sign that a new form of income is coming, that a new job is starting. So let's just use this as a point of focus. First of all, we must focus on what we want. We must feel into the fact that you have this job, it's already created for you, it's just that you haven't started it yet. Rather than saying, I don't have a job, I'm freaking out, I want a job, and you're focusing on the lack of a job and not the excitement of a new possibility that could earn money. Also, whilst we always look for jobs, we can be open to other ways money might come to us. What this means is, yes, continue to take active steps to be a participant in life by seeking jobs in the appropriate channels. However, be open to something in the meantime happening that could give you a cash injection. So keeping your mind open that maybe the job that's best for you is a few more weeks away than you anticipated. Could there be other opportunities that provide you with finance in the meantime? Could you reshuffle some of your investments? Could there be a babysitting job temporarily? Could you help a friend out? Are there other ways, rather than just fixating on the one way that this possibility could happen? This way you'll have the income, take away the stress, and allow the divine timing for the actual job that's right for you to land at your feet. And this requires a bit of trusting the process. And I'm going to hand it to Brenda to see what inspiration she can give you on top of that.
Yeah, well, as you often talk about manifesting, if you are in anxiety, you're not going to manifest. It just is like a brick wall for manifesting. It just shuts everything down.
Because it's fear.
Yeah, so fear. What can we use for fear? So in the Aurosoma range, anxiety and fear is to do with yellow and gold, like especially irrational fear or old fear. Maybe it's even your family conditioning that to not have a job is a really bad thing, and it's a shame. Shaming.
Yeah, shaming yourself.
So are you shaming yourself because you aren't, you don't have a job? And then the other thing is, if maybe there's a secret that you're holding that you're not allowing yourself to know about, and that might be your true desire about what you want to be doing. And again, your family conditioning is stopping you from actually following that path. Maybe you really want to be an artist and you're a fantastic artist and everyone says, oh yeah, you do really great little art projects, instead of taking yourself seriously and saying, yeah, let's get out there and be creative and expressive. And again, that the orange is a really great place to start with creativity, and then moving up into turquoise when you're actually doing those creative, ambitious, paintings or photography or whatever you're doing.
Are you being true to you? That's what I really hear with this message.
Yeah.
It's like it's too easy to get a job out of fear rather than expand yourself through excitement. So it's important to make sure you are resetting your mind with that. And this is interesting, Brenda has brought up, is there a secret? I'm not even joking you. I just pulled the card of 4 of Swords. And that was leading me to say, is there a missing piece to this puzzle? Is there another angle? Is there another attribute you're not using? Do you know what your top 5 strengths are? Like, who are you as the human that you're playing? So the advice of the tarot for the number 2 piece of advice is to contemplate in a state of stillness, meaning stop freaking out with your mind and in fact go and take some time to meditate, perhaps for at least 15 minutes for the next few days a day, and allow yourself to tap out of your mind, get into your body, so breathing, focusing on your breath, so that you can let that missing piece of the puzzle, that secret ingredient, appear through your intuition. Which just leads me to a suggestion from Brenda. I don't mean to take over your role, but what about something that helps us to be more intuitive? And that's a funny question coming from me because I believe we're all intuitive. It's just that not everybody is open to listening. And sometimes we have blocks that make it more difficult to hear what our higher self is trying to say to us.
Yes, so you want to really still your mind and do that meditation, which can be a little bit tricky for people that have really busy brains that are just racing on, and especially if you're in a bit of anxiety regarding your job. But a couple of products that may help really beautifully is the pomandas of the royal blue and the violet, really connecting into that spiritual aspects of yourself. The higher chakras, as Fiona's pointing out. Yeah, perfect.
So how do you use those?
So you use 3 drops on your palm and your left palm, like this. And this one that I'm putting on is coral, which is really good for anxiety as well. It's good for clearing the timeline. So synchronicity can come into place. You put 3 drops on your palm, you rub your hands together, wipe around your aura and breathe it in, and beautiful for when you want to do your meditations. And so the coral is also very interesting in that it's about right livelihood. So that might come up as another thing to talk about as we go through these.
What do you mean by right livelihood?
Well,
is it the correct line of work for you? Is that what it's saying?
Yes. So it's what you offer to your community what your strengths are that you may not even be aware of yet. It's your right, what you're here to do, really.
Interesting, because this ties in to number 3. I pulled the 6 of Cups. Now, of course, this card, like all the cards, can be read in a different way. For me, this prompts a message, that it launches an intuitive way of describing an action for you to take. This feels to me like tapping into your community and your group of friends more. Now, why I align this to what Brenda said is often our friends and close relations know parts of ourselves better than we do in a roundabout way. Like, we know ourselves. However, sometimes friends can see gifts within you that you haven't recognized because you're so used to being you. Whereas something that you find super easy is a gift that is a talent that would be of value to other people. But because you find it easy, it may not feel like it's valuable. And so talking to friends for 2 reasons. 1, to find out how they see you, what strengths they believe you have, but also number 2, to spread that networking. Talk to friends about contacts, networking, job opportunities, even, branch out into the community and have a chat to a few people. I also feel this is a connecting thing where, depending on the line of work you're going for, if it's more casual, approach the company and create a job for yourself. Don't just look for jobs that are on the traditional channels. Like, just really think outside the box. When create a job for yourself, what do you really want to do? And then step into that zone and present yourself with the strengths that you're aware of and the skills that your friends and family might remind you of, and sell yourself. This is actually the epitome of life. Life is not about discovering what is on offer for you. It's about creating the life you want and creating the job you want.
Yeah.
Therefore, you can use this analogy in every way, shape, or form, because a job is just one example of creating something for yourself. This could be any aspect of life. Good health, a new relationship that's more dynamic than your last. The list continues.
And as you're talking then, I was thinking about, if you are we're all an expert in something. We might, as Fiona says, we don't necessarily know what that is because it's something that's easy for us, but our friends can point that out. And then, start marketing yourself as being that expert. And you don't have to be, that's not egotistical. So you might be really great in finance and have the finance degree to back it up. So then you start doing a blog or an Instagram feed on finance or saving money or something, and then start getting noticed. So then when you do go for a job and they Google search you pop up.
And on that note, could you suggest something that may encourage confidence, that can boost the ability to communicate themselves? Because it's all very well to find out, I've got these top 5 skills, or I'm good at finance. However, do you have the confidence to step forward and go for that job? Obviously, confidence is not an overnight transformation, yet it can come if you do the baby steps. And alongside that, it's like anything. Aura-Soma can help with those practical steps, just like exercise can help with good nutrition to get in better shape. So it's just it can be an adjunct to what you are already doing to help you to boost your confidence. One thing that looking for a job can do is definitely drop the self-esteem and confidence. So what would you suggest for that?
I think I would continue with using the gold and the yellow. So if it's really almost an irrational fear, or if you're not really connecting in with your true gifts, then the gold is very good. And if it is that you're just really freaking out, how am I going to pay the bill tomorrow, then yellow is probably enough there. It's more in the immediate, where gold is like really digging. You have to go digging for the gold. So it's about going deeper, changing the deeper underlying conditionings.
And before I go ahead of this, if a couple of you are waiting for your questions to be asked, including Jessica and Melissa, we will go a bit more specific to your questions at the end of this. We're just wanting to use this opportunity because it's such a common experience for people. and it's too easy to get stuck into the head, and we're getting creative with a little bit more of a holistic approach. Now, I have pulled the Six of Pentacles. This actually is really feeling into all of what I've already said. A lot of this is about balance and give and take. And the thing that it prompts me to say is about maintaining balance in your whole life. Because when we are fixated on one thing and trying to make it happen with our head, we are going off track from our best soul's path. So what this means is it is important to be a co-creator in anything you're manifesting in life. So you take a step forward, the universe takes a step forward, you get the hint and take the next step, universe follows, and so on. And what we encourage is to follow your passion, follow what lights you up. Ultimately, you'd love a career that did that, but it doesn't really matter if your job is a career or not. It matters how you feel, and you can choose this. But finding a job, if you sit at the computer for 8 hours a day, trying with so much effort to get a job, and you're just upset and stressed and exhausted, and it just makes you feel worse, it's not the way to do it. Best to do your required due diligence by actively looking at the platforms that provide jobs, making sure you've sent all the required letters and CVs wherever you're going to send them, and then do something that makes you feel good. Go and meet a friend for lunch if that's what you're called to do. Go and do some exercise if that's what you feel preferred to do. Or meditate, or do whatever you want. Just keep using your daily routine to do things that feel good. Why? Because when you are on the path of following what lights your heart up, you will simultaneously bump into people and opportunities, and you may be surprised that the job may come out of you following your passion. Many people feel guilty about doing something for fun or something nice for themselves when they're trying to find a job. One, because they're not making money at that moment, and two, because they feel that they should be working harder at getting a job. That's old school thinking. We need to actually allow ourselves to be followed by the guidance of our soul. Our soul will lead us in the right direction if we stay focused on what we want, not what we don't want. We don't want to get stressed, fearful, and anxious. We want to trust the process. It's a really big jump for people to make, to jump from thinking it's okay just to be carefree about it, because it's not how we were conditioned to do so. But if we can, you might get the surprise that we were talking about, a different type of surprise, a job coming out of simply sitting in a cafe, bumping into an old friend. You just don't know. So do your due diligence, do what you need to do, some logical steps each day, then follow what lights you up. That's my thought.
And absolutely. And as you're talking, I just saw somebody going for a walk, walking through a park, and randomly meeting someone who, it might not even be the job you think you're looking for. It's something completely different, and an opportunity comes out of it. And
that's just, people are so fixated on how it's supposed to look.
Yeah, and how you're supposed to get jobs nowadays, and that's not how it works anymore. It probably never did, to be honest. It was always who you knew, not what you knew. And things like the orange to take away shocks that are on the timeline, and the coral, the coral and the orange work together in clearing the timelines. That's your lifeline, and as that is more clear, it allows more synchronicity to come in, so that you actually realize when you bump into someone, actually maybe I should say hi and have a chat, and wow, something amazing comes out of it.
Encouraging synchronistic moments by following your heart. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, by being joyful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the last tip from me with the tarot about the job hunting ideas, tips to avoid the freak out, I have pulled the Judgment card. Now, this is an important time to release judgment on a number of things here. First of all, on yourself. It's important to stay positive, right? I know it's easier said than done, and this is where you can use the Aura Soma to keep you in that upbeat, balanced feeling. However, this is more important to mention is use the time to really let go of some stuff from the past. Use the time you've been given, the space to focus on yourself and let go of a few demons, as I like to say. That's a bit dramatic though. It just means let go of some old beliefs and some old patterns, some old behaviors, some old people, some old expectations. Do a life audit, because that's a good use of your time if you've got time on your hands during this non-working space. And that's very therapeutic and also helps you to expand and be more in a positive energy. So when you're high vibing, you're going to attract more good energies. So the more debris you release, simply by, you can use your situation to do this process. If you're freaking out, or you're confused, or you're feeling lost, or something else, take one of those and feel into why. Why are you feeling lost? Because I don't trust that I have security for myself and my family or my children. Or you're freaking out because you feel out of control because you want it to happen the way you did. So you're basically having a little tantrum as an adult. We all do this. And when we realize that it's a control thing or a fear of lack of security, we then get closer to the root cause that could be blocking other areas of your life. So step into what's the worst that could happen? And start to have a chat with yourself to really let go of some of those old habits. Use this time wisely. You've been gifted this time. You don't have to always be doing mainstream life, work, 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 particularly if you've got some savings or you've got some ability to have some time off. Take it. My God, take it and do some personal growth.
Yeah. And do something, maybe there's a workshop that is over Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and perfect. You can use Monday, where if you're working, you wouldn't have been able to do it.
Yeah.
Take the time to meditate every day, as Fiona said, to start that routine of meditating every day.
And this is simply to release the stress as well as to tap into your intuition.
Sure. Yeah, but also starting a new routine that you get used to doing it every day, because you will make time for it when you're back working. And yeah, put yourself in different situations, and as Fiona says, what's the worst that can happen? Go and have coffee in the coffee shops near the firm that you want to work for,
Yeah, random. But this just comes out whatever
calculatingly random.
Spontaneous ideas though. Like you don't have to actually be manipulative. You can simply, if you get the idea, then run with it. Now, this is funny because I'm about to launch into Jessica's question. She said, "Hi, Fee. You and I have discussed the energetics around my current situation." This is because Jessica is a client of mine. So she just wants a card to see how the tarot sees the situation versus how we've already discussed. And interestingly enough, the first card I pulled was actually the Ace of Swords, which is ideas coming out of the blue, such as I should go and have coffee at the cafe next to my dream job place. That's just one playful idea. These ideas can be much more grand or even nothing to do with your job. Maybe it says you're just following those random thoughts that are actually intuitive moments of inspiration. And Jessica, so this is really underlining it for you. Take notice of those random spontaneous thoughts, and also get really clear on, I want to see, on what you really are choosing for this next job. No wishy-washiness. This is a weird one. I might just to come into your inner strength. And it's kind of like, don't take any bullshit, but it doesn't really make sense when I relate it to your job like this. It's been very clear about what you want. Now, I know that in some ways you do this. I want you to do this on more of a practical sense, in the way that how you're going to utilize your skills. as opposed to, I want a job that's really convenient, I can work from home, and that's got nice people and that values me. That's great stuff, and I really think it's important. But for this particular stance, it's important to launch into how you are going to create your future self. Like, you see yourself in this job, and I am incredibly, I'm just going to say the words. It's a list of your strengths and how they are used in the job. It's more practical, like you seeing yourself up leveling, expanding yourself, pushing yourself outside the comfort zone. What does that ultimate position look like on an actual practical level of using your unique set of skills? Whew, that was complicated. Does that make sense to you, or have I just confused everyone?
No, I think you're telling her to really pull her socks up.
Oh no, she's really got things together. It's more about, it's all very well to, I encourage people to manifest how they want to feel in their life in this new job. This is a different stance. This is saying, who is the future? What is the timeline? Like, you're going to quantum jump to your future self now, not gradually. Just jump into that best self. So be very clear about, I am an intelligent person with very clever analytical skills who builds strong relationships with others and helps others to do the same thing within the company. You manage staff and get new ideas across that can ultimately be heard, respected, and change the world. Something like that.
Yeah.
Whoo, whoopsie daisies. Now, Melissa's question was so long, apparently it didn't fit in the chat, and I'm going to have to reach over and get my phone to read that. Do you have any extra suggestions for Jessica?
Yeah, I think when I said pull your socks up, it is exactly what you said, is like leapfrog, like, don't be where you are or where you think you are, because you're thinking a bit too small.
Oh.
So, like you said, quantum leap, and I see that as well. I think it's going to be a little bit different than what she expects, but that's okay. Just go out there and have fun with it, because I think you're going to find something pretty exciting coming out of it all.
I definitely feel. Now, Jessica has actually applied for a job that is up there with her dream jobs. Do you want? Should we just tune into that for her? Do we get a feel?
As soon as you said it, my thoughts were, like, okay, you've applied for a job that's advertised, let's say. That's what I thought. And you're not going to get that job, but I think they might create you a job.
I do feel it's very close to it, if not it.
Yeah.
Personally, I think I get creative energy, 3 energy, actually stepping into this one. So the place does feel right for me.
Yeah, so I think they'll like you a lot, and they may well create you a job. So
in which case, this is where that last message of you really knowing how to sell yourself and being black and white about who you are, super confident, because you ought to be, because you are amazing. So why would you not be? And any fears that come up, just flick those away. I know easier said than done, but you know you can do it, because that's the way to get what you really, really want.
Yeah, and sorry if this sounds a bit random, but what's your unique selling point? Like when you talk about a product, you've got a unique selling point of your product, but what's your unique selling point? And, you've got all the skills for the job that's advertised that may be being filled within house, but they're advertising, and then they meet you and they think, okay, we need to make a position available for this person. So you need to come with your best face forward and your unique selling points, so that they can see how you will create, how valuable you are to that company,
and specifically what you would and could do for that business.
Yeah, it's not about you trying to fit into the mold of the job. It's about presenting yourself and them creating the job.
Ooh, I like it.
That's pretty clear to me.
Yes. So let's jump to Melissa. And for those of you watching at the moment, please type your name in the chat or something so we can know who's here. Melissa says, so I'm in between jobs, but nothing is coming forward for me. I believe everything happens for a reason, but is the reason my business has something more for me and daycare isn't my go-to at this time? Without pulling a card, yes. Or is it just the right daycare job hasn't come forward yet? I'm trying to listen to myself intuitively, but it's been 4 weeks nearly. I'm lost. I will let you address this. I have a lot to say about parts of this, but I'm going to let you go first.
So my thought was, why do you want to do daycare? Like, do you really love children and loving around children, and that brings you lots of joy?
It's financial.
Or is it only financial, and you know that?
No, I don't know that for sure, but I'm pretty sure.
So I want you to really focus in on that and ask yourself that question, because if it is only financial, then that's not good enough. And you can find yourself a part-time job that will pay enough doing something you enjoy while you keep working on your business. So because you've got a business, any job that you're going to take on to supplement that income as you grow your business needs to be for fun and joy and lightness, and not so much for money. And I know,
well, it will make you money, but
you'll get money, but like if it's a part-time job or a fill-in job, it's got to be delivering more to you than just supplementary income.
And on that note, it's more important that you have a good attitude about the job as well. This is not specifically to Melissa. Just if we are doing a job for money, you must be there with a great attitude, excited that this money can help either support your children or support your new career, business, passion idea.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about everything happens for a reason. That is true. However, not everything needs to happen. Meaning the reason things keep happening is because something isn't being learned or heard. So yes, the thing that keeps happening or something that's happening, there is a deeper reason. It's fine if it's a one-off. You usually pick up the drift that the universe is putting down. However, if it's not a one-off, if it's a pattern repeating and you think, oh, everything happens for a reason, obviously wasn't meant to be. Yeah, are you getting the message? Not you. Well, yes, Melissa, everything happens for a reason. What context was that said? But I believe my business. Oh, you suggested that the reason might be that your other business is the way to go and daycare isn't. Well, I would agree. And that we would agree. I know that the business that you love is not necessarily the amount of income that you require to live off. The question is if you can really trust that following your business passion is great, but you also must follow your day-to-day passion. If you are not finding balance in other areas because of that fear, we talked about this at the beginning. This is a different way of saying the same thing, which means in this case, have the work that you have as your own business and make sure that there are other areas that you are not just trudging through life, but you're lighting up your heart in things that are not the work. That path of jumping from the next moment of excitement. I want to explain what it means to follow your passion. Yes, on a big scale, you can follow your dream to become a pop star. However, on a day-to-day level, this is what I'm talking about. In this moment, would you prefer to make a YouTube video or take a nap or take a dog for a walk or have lunch? Do you have a calling that's jumping out at you that you really want to do? Many people do, and they take the logic sense, not the one they really want to do. If you jump into that 10-minute little passion and then you jump into another 1-minute passion, then you jump to a half an hour passion, slowly this is you learning to follow what your soul is calling you to do. It's a practice, but it's also living in the moment. And this, you'll find that you don't actually want to watch Netflix all day, every day. Even though you think, if I follow my passion, I'd get nothing done. Trust me, you will. You will. You cannot literally play a guitar all day without getting hungry, for example. So you're always going to follow your body's gut instinct. But most people don't. They're logically setting up, I must do this from 10 till 3. Then at 3 o'clock, I've got to go and do this. I must pick my child up. At not one point do these people say, today I need to go and have a treat for myself. I'm going to ask my friend to help me out, to look after and pick after my child so I can do something that I feel really cool to do. Making these decisions and asking for help and reaching out changes the energy of your entire life. So rather than when I get a job, I'll be all sorted. No, get sorted now. Start loving now. Start loving the life now. Do you think that makes sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And it's like you say, you know, you're going to make a YouTube video. You're going to do it, but work on it between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. And it will take you the whole time to do it.
Say that.
Or you can get the intuition of when to do it, and it might take you half an hour. Do you know what I mean? Like
yes, 100%, 100%.
You're pushing the rock up the hill, or you're pushing it down the hill.
It's totally that. It's totally that. I feel, and please excuse the dramatic bluntness, Melissa, but I do feel there's a bit of ego stuckness. Okay, you're so focused on the material world, and I know you're not materialistic. It's a practical material world of security that you're focused on. It's just that you're still focused on it. You're stuck in the 3D practical life. And I know it's scary to launch into the intuitive, mystical world. Once you do, and once you prove it to be true for yourself, you will be flying ahead with no question. You won't have to ask questions because you'll just know. And this is a real encouragement, because when you do this follow your passion process, you'll be more intuitive, because you have to listen to your intuitive every moment, or every so often during the day, to work out what your next step forward is. And I think this is a huge missing link when people talk about follow your passion, follow your bliss, follow what lights your heart up. I talk about this all the time, but maybe I need to explain it. It's not just for the big stuff. And sometimes the big stuff is never going to happen. It's just getting you on the path. So the trick here is to follow your passion with no expectation. That's the trick for most people, because if you get stuck on, I want to be the best photographer in the world, so you go launching into that, and even when you get signs to say, hey, maybe you should add in, you know, some video to the work that you do instead of just photography, and you go, no, I'm going to be the best photographer, and so you miss the diversion that was meant to take. And on that note, Melissa, that just felt quite right for you, adding video into your photography. I don't know what that means and how you can do it, but something about this feels really, really good.
Yeah. And I picked up on a little something else, is that you're looking for jobs in childcare, and here's just another idea, and I think it will make you as much money, and that is putting out to everyone that you can, like, what is it called? Not a locum, but on call. So they can ring you up on the morning
Contracts.
And say, no, just on call, like for the day.
Yeah, reliever teacher type thing.
Relieving sort of thing, exactly. And maybe you get more pay because you're that type of employee, and you might be with 3 or 4 different childcare centres, and that sort of gives you that sort of bit of change. You're working, earning money, and it's different to your day-to-day of the photography. But it also fits in around your photography. So they might ring you today and you say, I'm sorry, I'm not able to come today. But you might be wide open tomorrow, so you could go tomorrow. You know, like, there could be opportunities in that.
It's a great suggestion.
That was sort of just floated.
It's a great suggestion, because of course... there could be like 4 or 5 childcare centres in your area that need a temp. That's the word.
That can come in and out, that they don't want to take you on as a full-time, part-time job, but would be really grateful to have you on their books as a temp, and you could actually do even better than what you think you would do if you were part-time, full-time.
Yeah. And of course, any small business that when you work for yourself, sole trader, has its ebb and flow. So you can just be available when it suits you. You can say no, yes, whatever works for you, and you can work around your schedule. It sounds brilliant. I love this idea. There's a lot of ideas for Melissa here. This is seriously a big shift if you take it, and if you listen, and if you activate the ideas, because that's one of the things that I find with tarot Q&A is that many times I get asked the same questions, and I'm like, but you haven't actioned the original. Sometimes people are just like, they're asking but not hearing the answer. And I suggest that maybe you watch the videos again and hear the underlying message and tune into yourself and see what feels right to you. Now, Nancy has asked a question. Well, she's asked a question if she could ask a question. Nancy, can you please type it in the chat if you're still watching? Because we would love to have your question. And in the meantime, I have a question from a friend asking for a friend. I'm going to pretend I'm the friend. And I have 2 business ideas, they said. One of them could be very lucrative, speaking of that, yet it does require a lot of work. Now, if it was set up, it would be amazing, but it's not yet. And the other one is easy to do, but it's not going to bring in income immediately anyway. And she's sort of answering her own question here when she did say that was more fun. Should she do both? Should she just follow the fun one that's may not even make any money initially? It's more social media based by what I know. And the other one is a new division of the business. So I'm just going to get a feel for each aspect of that to see whether it's a yes, no, both, or just one in particular. And do you have any sense on this, Brenda?
You need to step down the path of both a bit further.
Yeah, I just don't like the answer. I'm just like, what's that mean? This was a better answer. Yeah, okay. So, well, I basically got the same answer, except for we haven't launched much further. It's not going to help you because, anyway, the answer I got is the one that you love that's not particularly making money is actually a definite love. It fills your cup up. It gives you the goodness that you need to carry on. It's a little bit like what you said, because it's like when you do the one that doesn't pay much but you love, you feel like you've got a full cup and you're happy. And you do love it. It's like a love for you.
It's like a hobby.
It's like a hobby. And it also, it's, everything in life we have a relationship to. We have a relationship to our job, to our children, to our partner, to the house we live in. We have a relationship to everything. Money is a really good example. And when we understand this, we can look at our situation as if it's a person. I usually say the word entity, but a person makes it kind of easier to comprehend. And this feels like a new love.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other one that's more involved, I have the 3, I have celebration. I feel that this is a sign to there's 2 parts to this. There's 3 parts. 1, 3 is a creation. It has good energy to mold into something. 2, if you are social and you literally are hanging out, say with your girlfriends drinking wine, you may find that there is a contact within your group of friends that you can more easily ease into that industry. It feels like it could be something to celebrate. Just to give a little bit, it is about you setting yourself up as a bit of a guru or leader in that industry, whatever that means. Is this something you ought to launch into now, or is there a missing link that needs to be revealed? It feels like correct action. We've got to make that change now. It's quite a big statement. Wheel of Fortune always indicates more of a destiny shift as well. So, yeah, it is a bit of a story of both. Is there anything that, obviously you're holding back on the hard work aspect of it, the message around that is simply follow your moments of inspiration that we talked about before. Do this in the same way that we have recommended everybody looking for a job. So it is taking note of those spontaneous inspirations. Don't like hard out push. I'm going to try and push this new idea onto all these people. If you go, oh, I'm going to tell this company or this person about my new idea, then you launch into that. So you basically do what Brenda said, which was don't spend 8 hours a day trying to film a video. Film the video when you feel called to film the video. It would happen in 10 minutes as opposed to trying to force it for 8 hours. So the same goes for this question, is I suggest you create the concept and you won't need to push it. Just talk about it, celebrate it, give it some fertilizer and allow it to be presented to you by you living a life of synchronicity.
And the fun one will give you that lightness to stay in the flow.
And happiness.
Yeah.
Theodora, please do ask your question. Yes, anybody here that's watching that's asking me if you can ask a question, please just punch it in the chat. We are waiting and we're going to stop quite soon, so please get into it. Okay, we've got a personal question here. What's going on between me and Nikos? Sorry, I cannot pronounce that today, but we got the drift. What's going to happen between me and, is this person? It's a person. Is it a person or it's not a company? It's a person. Two people, a relationship of sorts.
Yeah.
Do you want to dive into that before I pull a card? Yes, he's my ex. I would imagine that is saying. Is that, yes, ex, she's his ex.
Yeah. Probably not what you want to hear. I don't see anything.
You will be looking to move into a new world. It's time to part ways, and this is a good thing. And one of you, I feel you may even step into a new place, meaning you literally move or something happens that you are starting a fresh way of doing life.
Yeah, I see the parting of the seas.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. It's not it might be a bit sad because the promise of the nice relationship ended, but you'll be fine. Sorry, I haven't got any.
No, I think she's okay with that. I think she said yes. And we understand that it's always a curious thing to have this wonder or the second guessing. Have I made the right decision? I've got a few clients that are having those second thoughts and doubts. And ultimately, we need to remember that, as Brenda said, we are often more upset about losing the dream than we are about the person, because clearly if you're not learning your lessons or you've finished learning your lessons and you're moving on, it is usually time. And it's okay. Do you have a question that you would like? Did you have anybody approach you about anything? No. Okay. Well, we're going to wrap it up, and thank you very much. It's good to have Theodora and Nancy here, two new viewers, and we look forward to next time. Obviously, if you want to find out when these lives are happening, simply send me your email address and I will be sure to send you the link to these live events so that you can ask questions in real time. And of course, the replay is always available. Please, you guys, give us a thumbs up because we love to get your love and it helps us to spread this wonderful message to more people. So we will be back doing tarot Q&A at the last Tuesday of every month. So lock it in your diary, 4:44, the last Tuesday of each month for this year, with the odd spontaneous bonus like we've done today with Brenda. And if you would like to send your questions in throughout the week, then do so, and we will be addressing the collective, because ultimately what happens with the messages that come through each week, when I used to do it every week, there was such a common theme all the time. And that's why we're going to change the structure of Tarot Q&A, because we can actually address more for the collective at the same time as answering your individual questions. All right, everyone, we will love you and leave you, and we hope to hear from you soon. Bye.